The Team Never Quit podcast is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Partner up with Navy Federal to pay down credit card debt. Learn more at NavyFederal.org.
So when we get started on this, man, and before we have our Patreons that
Yeah,
send in questions and stuff like that, and they
yeah.
always ask, so what's one thing that absolutely freaks you out?
Oh, yeah.
It's a good question. I didn't.
Yeah.
You kind of like with us, stuff will give you the heebie-jeebies,
Yeah.
and then and I didn't really know what that meant until it happened to me.
Yeah.
So when someone sings to me, it freaks me the fuck out.
Like directly
to me. Like
how
at
often
me,
does that
and
happen?
it's like
It happens.
right?
Really?
It does. No,
It happens.
That's my point. It's like
Yeah.
it had never happened before, so I didn't know what to do about it. And like one person like came up and wrapped their arms around me while they were singing to me, and my body started doing this. What the?
Whoa. I would never thought, but now that's my one of mine. Like,
Yeah, I didn't. It's kind of like, man, it just made me feel. I don't know. So I guess that's how you know. If you know.
Multiple people, though.
Yeah.
It's not just one
multiple people.
person. And I think it's maybe like this is Marcus's stage, and at this stage in his life,
It's when a dude sings to me.
he's more welcoming.
yeah,
I
that's a
think.
bizarre thing.
It is, right?
Yeah. Like, I remember singing with you or singing amongst you, but
Right.
to you.
Coming up singing
I've
to
never,
me, I was like,
I've
kinda
never
like-
been sung to. Maybe my daughter. Maybe like Happy Birthday might be like the limit.
Let's go ahead and put that in the wind. So I'll be walking through town one day and be like, "Hello." You know,
I'm gonna remember that now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember
it's
that.
like, oh, there's a freaking.
I hate being pranked. That's what freaks me out. And my kids love to prank me. Last night,
They're just getting good at this.
Addie was standing behind the bedroom door. I went to get her clothes for today to prep her. And I walk in, all the lights are off, and she's hiding behind the door with that scary Donald Trump mask. I don't know where she got it, but there's one that's like a Halloween mask that looks super freaky, like a waxy mask. And she jumps out from behind the door and screams at me with that.
Wow.
And I had scissors in my hand, and I almost stabbed her.
Stabbed her in the leg. Don't ever do that again.
Jeez.
Don't do that.
There's consequences to that.
Yeah,
Right. Wow.
do not freaking scare me.
I don't think you're supposed to scare mom. I did that behind the door thing with my mother one time, and she whipped our ass. She whipped my brother just for thinking about it.
Yeah, I can see that. I should have whipped her, but I hate it. Pranks freak me the F out. I
Wow.
hate being pranked, and my kids know it, and they love it, and they use it on me.
Jeez.
So that's mine.
It's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you get scared so easily.
I get scared so easy, and I'm a freezer. I'm like the flight person. I'm not not even flight. I'm a freeze.
Yeah.
When I
That
get
is one of them.
scared-
It should be one of
should
them.
be one.
Yeah,
It all
Yeah,
stops
because that
there.
is a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't run and I don't fight back. I'm just like everything is taken out of me, and I'm like, whoa. Even sometimes he'll come home in the middle of the night from work or whatever, and he'll kiss me, like peck me on the head, and I'm like, I just do this.
Oh no, the worst is driving down the freeway or somewhere, and she's looking somewhere else, and she'll see something. She'll reach over and do the claw thing into my shoulder, and
Yeah.
it freak out, kind of freeze. It doesn't let go, and I don't, I'm over just minding my own thing, right? And dude.
It's always when
So for all you guys out there who don't know that's an actual thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
they shut down and they can't do anything. They're
It's
not
like
trying
the
to piss
life
you
that-
off or anything. They just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the life is sucked out of me in that moment. I'm like,
Yeah.
Hey, your spirit left. Like
Yeah.
Involuntary. Yeah.
yeah,
your spirit
there's
quit,
nothing I
and
can do
the only
about
thing
it.
left.
Wow.
And thank God I'm married to you, because I'm helpless when it comes to if anybody scares me, I shut down.
Wow.
Hunter, what about you? What freaks you out?
So I don't get freaked out too easily. I'm great with
You're young, just
with
wait.
heights and kind of just animals and all that. I kind of just enjoy the adrenaline. But one thing that has freaked me out a whole lot is going up to the top row of bungee jumping and just looking down, and then that first little jump off. That was probably one of the scariest, freakiest moments of my life.
Well, you also did the highest bungee jump in the world.
That
Hey.
is true.
In this family,
Yeah.
go big or go home, right, son?
Yeah, you were in New Zealand and you did like the highest thing next to a freaking cliff. as his mother, I'm standing on
She
the
pushed him.
opposite side. I did not.
Yeah,
That's for all the pranks.
that's it.
I was
That's right.
videoing.
Ha ha! Now, mother.
It was so scary.
No,
So
I
I
mean,
can
it was
see how
awesome.
that freaked you out. Yeah, John.
When the kids get quiet, that is freaky. When the little ones are playing and you hear that little chuckle and then all of a sudden nothing, you're like,
That is weird. Yeah.
something has happened.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're just playing quietly, but sometimes they're coloring on the wall.
I feel like that's more of a defensive spider sense.
Yeah.
Then you
than
freak
something-
out.
Yeah, I know we've
you're
had
probably
that,
right about
especially in
that.
like a house of chaos when it's quiet. I know
Yeah,
me and my
you're
wife
like-
have looked and been like,
Something is wrong.
Because on the other end of that, they're waiting to hear if you heard.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Right? That's probably what's
They're
going
waiting
on.
for the footsteps.
What
Yeah.
what broke? What did you? Yeah.
Man, you think they heard that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, there was our Patreon question of the day. Hunter, do you want to introduce our guest?
Yeah, so we've got a great guest for you guys today. Retiring Special Forces Officer Brian Ray has had a long and successful military career, where his last duty station found him at Fort Carson, Colorado, where he took part in running the Mountain Warfare School. His services has led to some emotional struggles, and today we will talk about what his journey to healing looks like. Brian is currently starting his post-military career with a company called Health Via Modern Nutrition, or HVMN. They have released a ketone supplement called Keytone IQ that is proven to help improve the cognitive and physical performance. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for the warm intro and the warm welcome.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother. All right, let's back it up a little bit.
All right.
You said you were born in Womack and your dad was going through the Q course. So tell us where you come from.
Yeah. So
Tell me about your people.
Yeah, so my people. No, so I was I guess my family, my mom was kind of a vagabond back in the day, and I was born at Womack in Bragg. I'm sure many people are familiar with that place. And while my dad was going through the Q course, not long after there, they split different directions. My dad went on to continue his career, and I moved to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, amongst the Amish community. And
How's that?
I mean, I thought it was cool. I loved it.
Is it? It's cool, right?
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah. So I mean, I wasn't living as an Amish, but I was in Amish town. Yeah.
A lot of mystery surrounding it.
Yeah.
The one TV show they got is about their mafia.
The Amish Mafia. Yeah, I think that was
how
like that
great
area
was
too.
that?
Yeah. But yeah.
Who
so,
knew?
Yeah, so like horse and buggy was like a normal thing.
Oh, some of the best Instagrams are when the
Good
Amish
story
guys
about
skid
that.
them.
Marcus, we had a Patriot tour in, is Harrisburg like an hour from there? Or
Yeah, it's
something
not
like
that far
Okay.
from there. Yeah.
So we had a Patriot tour in Harrisburg, and I wanted to see an Amish family. It was just on like my list of things to get like a picture of, like
Yeah.
family and a horse and buggy. And I made Marcus, we rented a car for this, drove to Lancaster.
We were looking for him like I needed to bring him home. That kind of. She's like, I need to see this. Mama two eyes. We're bringing him home.
Yeah.
You hear about it,
Yeah.
and I just, in the South, you don't see that, and so I just really wanted to see it. I wasn't gonna do anything. I just
You don't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see.
Yeah, it's
that.
different. It's very
Yeah.
in this society. It's a very different thing to see. you
Yeah,
know?
so we go driving around.
I tell you, like a
Lancaster.
stalk, dude. Like I know they're here somewhere.
Could not find any Amish.
Wow.
I even
Cold though, wasn't it? Well,
no, it was like normal. It was summer, and I
right.
googled like Amish restaurants or Amish,
Yeah, how do
trying
you
to
Google?
like
How
find.
do I find? Where are the Amish?
Yeah, so
Google Maps, like
We
where?
looked up a
What a question.
restaurant that said it was an Amish restaurant. There was no like visible Amish people there. They weren't dressed in what you would think they
She
would
got
be.
pissed.
And I'm like,
It wasn't you wanted the hardcore
I
stuff?
wanted
That's
to
right.
see like a horse and buggy. And
Yeah.
so we drove around for hours. We saw lots of covered bridges and really pretty
That's great. It's
scenic,
beautiful up there.
farmhouse type things, but we never saw an Amish until we were going to the airport. And I'm in the airport, we're leaving,
Yeah.
and there were two Amish dudes in the airport. I'm like, okay.
You got it. A
We
little bit.
literally drove around
Yeah.
Lancaster
They were
for
waiting on us.
hours.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because my my mom and my uncle, that she told me what they used to do as kids because they lived in that area, is they would dress up like Amish and charge tourists to take pictures with them as a racket because people want to come see the Amish.
That's ingenuity.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's funny you mentioned it because, again, growing up in that, like, I was like, why do people want to come see the Amish? Like, they're just part of normal life. But I guess,
So did the
obviously
Amish Mafia find out about that?
I don't know.
Just try and shake you down. For
I don't know.
snitch on
Probably.
that,
They
man.
probably need to
we
be
just
in
put that
hiding
out
now.
there. They know
Yeah.
now.
So funny. Yeah, we did that.
What's
Yeah.
Rumspringer like? You can tell when that's going down?
No, I was too young living there when that happened. I had moved away from Lancaster
Oh, Jack.
before I would have understood what was happening. In that area.
Right.
Yeah, so
Were you with your dad or your mom, or
so I was
both?
I was with my mom for a while, and then I lived with my grandma there. So
Okay.
she raised me for quite a bit of time in Lancaster.
And y'all are from that area again?
Yeah, that's
Your
where
people are from that?
Yeah, that's where
Oh,
my
okay.
that's my mom's side of the family is.
Roger that.
Yeah, so I grew up there for a while, then moved out to Missouri. My mom had found another guy that she was going to marry, so we moved to St. Louis. Then when I was around 13 or so, I moved to Germany to live with my dad, who I didn't know him. I didn't grow up knowing him. My mom was
At 13?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She said, "So do you want to grow up and do you want to go meet your dad?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess that'd be cool."
That's how she phrased it?
Yeah. Well, pretty much. I was like,
Yeah.
she was like, "Okay, you want to live with him?" I was like, "I don't know." She's like, "You're gonna move to Germany." I was like, "I guess that's cool," like. So.
Talk
Yeah.
about that, because that's a big deal, man. You're not just leaving to go down the road. You're going out of country to
Yeah.
stay with your dad.
So I'd
who's
actually
a special forces guy.
Yeah. But again, like, I didn't know anything about what he did except for he was in the army and he moved around a lot because I didn't live with him. Like he didn't grow up as my dad, at the
Yeah,
time.
but Rambo is already out on the TV now.
It already was, but even then, like, I had uncles who were Marines, so like. that's-
okay. So
yeah.
back it up a little bit. You got a family full of them.
Yeah. My grandpa, he was a Korean War vet,
Nice.
and my uncles, they were all military. My mom was a linguist. She was MI as a linguist. She spoke Mandarin Chinese, and then she got out for personality disorders or whatever. I think she got. I still wonder if sometimes that's just code for I moved on with like an agency or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's weird. She does weird stuff. She lives in Uzbekistan now doing stuff. So like.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like.
Very interesting.
Weird
family.
story, but so I moved to Germany to live at a small MI base, which was in Bad Aibling, which is in like Bavaria, beautiful country, awesome place. Went to an American middle school there before I moved to Colorado Springs in '98, and that's where I went to high school. That's where I call home because that's where I've spent the most time. But until that point, I'd never been in the same school for more than 1 year consecutive. Like, I moved to a different school every single grade until I got into high school.
Yeah, Brett, right?
So-
Brett life.
Yeah, but it wasn't army related until I was in middle school though. It was just happened to be that my mom moved around a lot and we did different things. So
And we just figured out why.
Was
Yeah.
your dad? Was he like a good person to live with, or was it a
Yeah,
good
it was-
relationship?
yeah.
What's that like over there military wise?
so that being a small base, I don't know. It wasn't that much different from because I was on the economy a lot anyway. We didn't live on post. I only went on post for school, but other than that, I still went on the economy for everything. So I don't know. It was just I guess I was really indifferent to the fact that I was living a military child lifestyle because I just didn't feel like it. I didn't have a big connection to the military, even though like I've been.
Well, our
around
kind of
that.
community is cool like that, or I say cool like that, different
Yeah.
like that. You know,
Yeah.
you don't even know most of the guys are in when they're in, anyways.
Yeah, and that's what it was like. Like, my dad wouldn't come home and like we wouldn't talk army stuff, and he never wore a uniform at home.
Yeah.
So it was just like,
There is that.
Yeah,
We don't
so-
talk about that, and I don't ever hear people talking about that, but that is a different type. It's a completely different lifestyle. It's not
Yeah.
like being in. It's not.
yeah, it's completely different. That life didn't really come home. There was influence to it. He had pictures on the wall, and I thought it was cool. And we'd go play paintball with some of his guys occasionally. So I was definitely intrigued by it. But
Still got friends over there from when you were a kid?
In Germany?
no, I don't think so.
And you run into any of the guys in the military and say, man,
No, I tell my dad every now and then. My dad will bring him up, be like, "Hey, remember this one guy who used to do this? He's working at this freaking, so this TSOC, or he's working at this other place. It's cool to see where some of those guys went, but yeah, I wasn't in the business of collecting friends, I guess, because I was so used to not like
oh, yeah, getting
carrying them around. So I was just like, I had a lot of positive acquaintances growing up, but like not a lot of people that were just like, yeah, this is my boy. Like, we grew up and did everything together. That wasn't until high school started. So.
Yeah, it is. Now that you say it like that, in the military in the beginning, especially, it's tough to make friends. You get to know them, and you get the ability to work with them.
Yeah.
And then they usually move us.
Yeah. And what's funny is like people are like, "Oh yeah, you know that guy? Yeah, he's my friend." But like, when's the last time you talked to him? Oh, probably 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that.
I didn't even know his name. I just knew his nickname. His
Yeah.
call sign was like, I've known guys 20 years.
Yeah.
They're like, that's your freaking name, man? I didn't know that.
Yeah. But it's funny, like looking back, it's like all these guys are still guys that I could call up, even if I haven't talked to him in a number of
100%.
years, at any time and say, hey, man, I need your help. Or if he called me at any time, it doesn't matter if we haven't talked for a decade, like they're still friends.
So what is that? How about that?
Yeah. It's a weird friendship.
That's a
dynamic.
weird dynamic
Yeah.
right there, because we cut out all that other stuff that most people hold on to as friendship, and then we get right to the. Yeah, I was like, man, I ain't talking to that guy in 15 whatever years, man, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So your dad gets transferred to Colorado Springs.
Yeah. So
and
yep. So we moved to Colorado Springs, and he continued to deploy. My mom moved back with us to co-live, which I can't really call it co-living because my dad was gone all the time anyway. So it's not like, they were there together at the same time that often. But she was now, taking care of us in his house until I graduated high school.
It's even cooler, bro, because she got stationed somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they pulled her back.
Yep. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, her story.
Interesting.
She's been to Ecuador. She was working in Qatar. She does a lot of things that make me question. Like, are you sure
It doesn't
this
get
is
any
what
more
you're
special
doing?
forces than you, right? Or me sitting in this room. And if it does, we know the dude probably, right?
we need to have
And
your
when you
mom
start hearing
on.
all those, where's mom at?
Yeah.
You park her in here,
Yeah.
man. That's all. When she gets done.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to burn. Every time she moves somewhere and does something weird, I worry about it on my security clearance. So I'm like, man, is this gonna flag me because she's working? Like, I don't know. Maybe, probably not. Maybe she's working the backside of it.
Dude, I got a badass mom too, man.
Yeah.
Just, they're great to have.
Dude,
Badass
yeah,
mom.
it's wild.
They're
And
awesome.
A lot of that stuff you don't appreciate till you're older, though.
Older.
You realize,
Man, how can you?
Yeah.
How could you possibly appreciate that? I couldn't until I
Yeah.
got older, and I mean, mama's boys, yeah, but you don't know that because they're not mean, but they're just awesome.
Yeah.
They do cool stuff.
Yeah, that was me and my dad. I was like, it wasn't until I had already been in for a couple years and I'd already done a deployment and all this stuff that I like really started getting closer with him because I realized what he had been doing the entire time.
How about that?
Whereas before he was just a guy that went on army trips. You
Yeah.
know, all right, see you, Dad.
So what made you realize that you wanted to be in the Army?
I wouldn't say that I ever had like a big passion for it, like I always wanted to do it, but I didn't do well in school. Not academically, but more so I always felt like I had better things to do, so I skipped a lot of school. We were right by the mountains, so I would go four-wheeling. I would just do dumb shit, and pardon my language, but because of that, I barely graduated. So I knew I wasn't ready for college, so I was like, I'm just going to join the Army for a couple years, figure out what I want to do. My dad.
While you're in, or right after you got out of high school?
So this was while I was in high school. Yeah.
What scratched that? How'd you get that? Because this is what, now that we've been out long enough and guys talk about it,
Yeah.
and what most people was like, man, what was it? There has to be something. I remember what it was for me. It's just like something started scratching that Army itch as opposed to the Marine. You had it in your family, well, multiple in your family.
Yeah.
actually.
Well, I knew if I was going to go in for the longest time, I wanted to be a Marine, and that's just because that's what I remember seeing my uncle wearing his uniforms. I'm gonna say it. Marines have the best looking uniform.
I want to be a Marine. I think every kid wants to be a Marine.
They have a
The
good looking
best
uniform.
dude.
They've got
I
a
mean,
great
some bitches,
recruiting
dude.
program.
It's
what
ridiculous.
does the Army tell you? They're like, hey, we want you to like just be good, be awesome.
Yeah.
And the Marines are like, we want to slay dragons.
That's right.
You
And
know,
we're gonna
so,
look
like,
good doing it.
when it comes
Navy's
to,
gonna
like-
stick your ass in a submarine and throw you under the water.
Yeah,
I mean,
they had
it's gonna
good.
be
They had good hard music. They had a good message. So
What
like,
the hell?
Yeah. So the Marines, like for the
They
longest
gotta
time, I
figure
was
it out,
like
man.
Marines.
That's
You know.
right.
But I think my dad had just enough influence before I
Stepped in and
made
put
the
that-
decision
Yeah.
that I was like, all right, I'm gonna be an Army guy. His only advice was, hey, don't be a leg. That's it. And I was like, all right, that's fair. So
that mean?
A non-airborne guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't got any wings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ground. You're just on the ground.
Yeah. So you're a leg. You know, kind of a derogatory.
Trust me, there's it's a great term. There's a bunch
Yeah.
of terms we got for that stuff. There's
Yeah.
a term for everything in there, so you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he said, just don't be a leg. I was like, all right, I won't be a leg. So I joined up as an airborne infantry guy, and I was like, all right, I'll do a couple years, see if I like it, and if not, I guess I'll get out, do college, I guess. But still, I didn't have a desire to get a degree. I didn't care what I would have done. So that was it. I joined up as a unassigned airborne infantry guy, and I ended up at Fort Polk, Louisiana. So the first duty station.
I drive by there at least
All the time.
once a month.
Yeah,
Really?
still do.
Yeah, my grandparents live like an hour from there.
That's the back roads
Oh.
for me, man. I go through there just for the scenery.
Yeah.
We the way we go from here, we drive right in front of it.
Wow. You know, it's funny. People always, when they hear that, like, oh, that place sucks. That place, whatever. But I actually really enjoyed it. Like, I already loved everything about the South. I loved Cajun food. I loved the hospitality. Like, I already liked it.
Yeah.
You know, especially like being a single guy. Like, I didn't care what it was like there. Like,
Anybody says they don't like it, they don't know what they're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the problem.
Yeah, like I thought it was great. You know, I spent a lot of time growing up in a place called Dauphin Island, just south of Mobile in Alabama. So like I always liked when I was down there. I liked everything about the culture and everything. So I was excited. It was a great duty station. The unit was awesome.
Who'd you start with?
So it was the 1st to 509th,
I'll check.
which is an OPT-4 unit. So when guys do their training rotations.
Oh, I know. I've been there. I've talked to them.
Yeah. So, the Geronimos, you know, they're the bad guys.
I know exactly who they are.
Yep.
And they said the same thing. As a matter of fact, since we brought it up, man, I climbed in their ass about that. I was like, some of you guys don't appreciate where you're at. I was like, we giving you carte blanche to beat the dog piss out of everybody.
Yeah.
Where do you think we're going to put you? Mm-hmm. I mean, you know what I'm talking about?
It's a great,
you were there?
Yeah, it was a great place.
Hell yeah, man.
And honestly, the unit... I'm not sure a lot of guys realize like internally what the unit is. Like it's an airborne infantry unit, a straight up normal infantry battalion with a specialized mission to train these guys. But you're still a real unit. So like the ability to train as a bad guy to fight the good guys is extremely eye opening.
Okay, so my opinion, our perspective now, they're the most highly trained unit we got.
Dude,
it's like those Air Force bubbles that fly the helicopters all the time because they got nothing else to do. They're spare, man. Those are the ones you want. They're the ones that came and got me.
Yeah,
I mean, because that's all they do.
Yep. So you're either training to be a good guy in regular infantry tactics, or you are acting as a bad guy and you're learning guerrilla warfare. You're learning like. And it wasn't cheesy stuff. Like if you were going to put in an IED, you had to put in an IED. You had to pickaxe a road and put a real one in, and you had to tie the deck. You had to tie everything correctly and have it inspected for them to allow you to use it against, you know, whoever was training there. So like, you felt what it was like to be sitting there watching a convoy go by. You know, like. You feel all that stuff. So I thought it was a really great starting point.
I tried to tell them that too, man.
Yeah.
I did.
He went and spoke to them a few years ago as like a
motivator. No one knows you're here.
Yeah. The Geronimos
and most people try to avoid the damn Geronimos, man. You hear that freaking what are you thinking?
Oh, dude, every time I see the little logo, every now and then I'll see it on somebody's shirt, and I'm like, you were a Geronimo. Yeah, so super cool unit. I actually didn't think I was going to deploy from there because it was such a training unit, but right around that time, this was 2003, they said, hey, you're going to go support 10th Mountain. You are now back to regular infantry. You're going to Iraq. You know, it was about a 30-day lead time, and that was it. Yeah, we were there, you know, a couple months after I got there. So that was deployment number 1. I just turned 18, so.
Oh, wow.
Rock and roll. So.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So good for you, man. They threw you right in, huh?
Right in, yeah. It was like, it wasn't OIF 1. It was like OIF 1.5.
Yeah.
So, like, we still weren't flying in, so so when infantry guys came in, they would go into Kuwait. I mean, a lot of guys have been to Camp Buring, you know, just freaking desert.
I did same thing. We do. Yeah.
So we go there, and then we would escort the vehicles up to Baghdad, and that's how our infill was to escort a convoy in.
That's how we got in.
Yeah. So funny story. Obviously, we're going in, and I was the RTO, and I had my lieutenant in the vehicle with me, and he was just super excited, as most young lieutenants are. Like, we're going to go change the world. We're going to whatever. And even like...
That's a real thing, man.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, that's a real thing. When I saw that, I was like, what is that?
Yeah. Like, man. Like,
there's a gun.
And I wasn't like... I was still younger than him, but I was a rifleman, and I was just like, dude, we're going to freaking get down out
What's
here.
up?
Like, I was excited about the fight, and this guy's like, man, we're going to like... Hearts and minds. And I was like, that's cool, man. And I remember... Probably still one of the funniest things I'd ever seen that just smashed that dream is, you know the water bottles over there. They're not normal. They're like 1.5 liter water bottles. And we're passing these people on the side of the road who would stand there, families just looking desolate, like they need. And he was like, I'm going to give these next people we see some water. I was like, all right, cool, man. So we're driving by, and he takes this thing of water, hucks it out the window, and it explodes all over these people. Like,
runs them over.
Like, he just like drills these people with these water bottles in his attempt to show compassion. And it was just like, I don't think there was a word said. I think he just looked right back forward and just sat there quietly. And I was like, wow.
It's one of those, this is what perfect. You think, expectations as opposed to reality, right?
I was like, I want to hear their story. When I was a kid, I got drilled by a water bottle. So I just thought that was a great start.
We saw, I saw one time they were driving through and wanted to throw out a bunch of candy, a bunch of kids around, and they flooded to the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? While the traffic was going.
Oh, yeah. That's dangerous stuff.
So, well, sure. But they didn't think like that. Young was like, I was just trying to give him some freaking candy. I'm like, I get what she's trying to do.
I know.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like kids. I like all this stuff. That's cool. I understand. I want to throw some candy out, but.
Sure.
Dude.
But from the other side of that, and we didn't know any of that. As kids, man, we don't expect that. We didn't get that training.
No.
That's the one thing that looking back on it, I was like, man, the culture thing was a big one.
Yeah. But it's probably one of the most rewarding parts of it, though. Even in all the places I've gone, is just seeing the culture of the people who live there and just seeing, like, people have it a lot harder than we do in this country in most places. And it's great to see how people can still be happy and they can still love their family. Like, I don't know, man. It's different perspective. Mm-hmm. So, like, even in a place that's, like, torn constantly by war, like, you can still be happy with what minimal things you have. So that's why it's, like, it's easy to be like, dude, what are you complaining about, man? Like, we've got a lot of opportunity here. So,
yeah.
Yeah, but no, that was number one as a regular infantry guy, and that was my only infantry deployment. The rest of that we're all under group.
So when you went there, is that when you decided you wanted to go into special forces?
Yeah, that confirmed it. I already had an idea that I wanted to do it, especially because my dad had already been there.
Who in there pushed you that way? Then there's got to be somebody, right?
It was seeing team guys on deployment, like.
Well, that helps.
Yeah, like when you're like doing bullshit,
bro.
Yeah.
If they videoed that and just sent that back, there wouldn't be a lack of guys coming in.
Everything was better. Like, they had a better gym. They wore cooler shit. They ate better food. Yeah. And then
the weapons, everything, man.
We were on a checkpoint one time, because we did like these snap TCPs. So we would set up a checkpoint real quick and, do our thing looking for people with bombs or whatever. And this van rolls up with these bearded dudes. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And as they roll up to the windshield, they're holding up a little American flag that they're waving, and I see it, and I was like, well, this is weird. I was like probably like E2 at the time, at the furthest most point of the TCP.
Yeah, right.
These guys roll up, and they've got like MP5 across the lap, and, they show a military ID card. I was like, I've got some dudes here, like, what is this? And, they waved them on through, and I was just thinking, damn, that was pretty cool, man. Like,
the best way to describe it is when you see it for the first time, you kind of they roll. It's like, we're family, so like little brother watching big brother just come in off doing something cool.
Yeah, and that's what it was, and it just like felt like they always did cooler shit, and they always had better stuff, and it just really spawned that. I was like, man, if I'm gonna do this, that's the side of the house that I want to be on.
Yeah,
and
that got me too.
Fast forwarding ahead years, and in the same country, I'm finding myself driving around in a Toyota Corolla, man jammies on, with a freaking gun and a backpack.
The Corollas.
Hoping that I don't get killed by a U.S. Army guy.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, man.
We got shot at a lot by them.
Yeah, I was like, that was a really scary, especially like, here's the intel report. There's going to be a white Corolla. It's an IED. There's going to be
that would be the intelligence.
There's going to be a bongo truck that's got weapons in it. Oh, great. They just called out what we're driving in.
Well, the pass down, they wouldn't send it all the way down. That was the problem. It's like the guys wouldn't normally shoot at us.
Yeah.
But when they leave their station and someone else would come in, the intel wouldn't make it all the way to the new guy.
Yeah.
And that's how that would happen to us.
Yeah.
So I have a little cousin that is, he's actually taking his ASVAB this week, and wants to go Army. Yeah. And he thinks he is probably just going to have to go in regular infantry somehow, and then he wants to transition into the special forces later on.
Yeah.
Is it hard to do that for the kids that are listening that want to do something like that?
So the 18X program, which is the program where you come right in off the streets and go right to, you go through the infantry training, but then you go right to the Q course after selection and all that. I have met some of the best guys I've ever worked with that were 18 X-rays. And some of them were right out of high school guys. Some of them were guys with master's degrees that just didn't want to do, that's what they wanted to do. And then I've also worked with prior service guys who went in the longer route, who were great guys, and some that weren't. So I can't say that there's any difference, but I'll say if you want to do it and you just want to get right to it, just go 18 X-ray. Because here's the thing, like, if you don't make it, you're still an infantry guy, and then you can just try again. But you might have had a chance to go in right away and get right to that side. Like, is there value to gain having been on the conventional side? Absolutely. But I don't think it's enough to where you should think it's an obligation. Like
it's impossible to answer that question.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait a certain amount of time. You can just decide to.
Yeah. If you meet the prerequisites, just go. Yeah. I don't know. I guess if it's something your heart is set on, just go. Yeah. I don't know.
I keep trying to put him in the Air Force, but he won't, they don't listen to us.
Marcus tells all the young kids to go
they want to be special forces.
Yeah, and then
Air Force.
And then they're going to go be CCTs, JTAC,
right.
PJs, you know.
Have great accommodations.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're going to have great.
Still top secret.
Yeah.
So you do cool stuff. I mean,
they do get taken care of really well.
Oh, so well.
And
Air Force guys
Marcus says that they have the best bases.
By far. By far. Yeah. Their standard of living is
so good. It's like the rich folks.
Yeah.
In the family.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood.
You feel it when you walk in there too. Like they're just like.
I'm not just saying this. This is an absolute fact, man. I was like, you like walking into the rich kid's house. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Cool leather chair.
Yeah.
And then the food, like if they even think about going camping with us, a mall will show up in a volleyball court, the pool.
Yeah.
We're not making this up.
No, it's true. They have much better accommodations.
We get to hang out with them. We're like the bastard sons, so they let us hang out with the rich kid. They're our ride. We get to ride in their Bentleys and airplanes. Their engines are Rolls Royce, right? Aren't they?
Probably.
See, so they have the Rolls Royces.
Yeah.
I'm right.
Yep.
Did you find the screening and everything to get into the Green Berets, was that like a super challenging part of your career?
Yeah, definitely. But I think more of it was mental because, when you're...
What year was that?
That was 2006, I think, is when I went to assessment. So...
Well, that was when it was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
That was right after it started in 2005. It was a crazy
so like most of the guys who were instructors there, most of the guys who were doing the selecting, those are all guys like they were either wounded or they were on a SWIC tour after doing multiple combat deployments. Yeah. So it was like they knew
that means something in our communities too. When you got guys like that who are your instructors, it's a lot of
like they knew that the guys that they were putting through are guys that are going to be on their teams when they get back, so there was definitely a lot invested in making sure
they tell you
they
that
had the right guys.
They made that. They said that all the time.
Yeah, like this isn't the last time you're going to see me. Like we're going to work together.
And when they would work beat the dog. What if you were if you screwed up on something, man? They'd be like, hey, they can tell because you got to understand, man. The deadliest some bitches on the planet are the ones teaching you.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Talk back? I mean, that's just not how. When you're in the student mode, you get a student feeling.
Yeah.
That goes along with that.
Yep.
And when you're with your peers and they talk to you, it doesn't matter if they're younger. You're just like, hey. Right?
Yeah, it is. So
I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I think physically, I was really fit. I felt good about all the stuff I did. I wasn't the fittest guy there, but I never struggled that much in that sense. But there's always going to be am I who they're looking for? Am I the guy they want? And there was definitely times where I was doubted. I was like, man, look at these guys. This guy's a freaking. This guy was a decathlete. This guy's a whatever. And you start comparing yourself to everyone else and just wondering, man, am I the guy? And it's just something you do to yourself. You always want to wonder. I think especially young men growing up, what does it take to be a man? When did you feel like you were actually a man? I don't think I really felt like I was a man until I was a father. Of all the things I've done.
Until I had kids.
All the things deployments, everything. Until I was a father and I really committed to the marriage and everything, I didn't feel like I was a man, So mid to late 20s. So,
wow.
In that, you're still in that sense of it. And I carried that with me in my training too. I always felt like I was trying to fight to get into the club, so, but yeah, I mean.
As soon as them suckers came on the ground, that's a title.
Yeah.
It talks about that title.
Yeah.
Do you think
man and father, right? Mm-hmm. You got to earn them.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's part of your growing up, feeling like you never really had a home too?
I think looking back, that's a lot of it, just because, and I don't definitely want to make it sound like I'm talking bad about my father because, we've ultimately are much closer than we used to be. But I think that was a big part of it. I didn't grow up with other than my uncles, but uncles are always just crazy uncles, whatever. They're the cool guy.
They're great.
Yeah, I didn't have the one who was teaching me the values and the morals and all that stuff. I adopted them pretty well just based off my surroundings. But, I didn't have somebody to show me what it was like to be a man. It was we occasionally went camping and did cool things, but not enough to where I felt like I really understood what it meant. Is a man somebody that attracts a lot of women? Is how many girls think you're attractive? Is a man somebody who's strong or who's a great athlete or whatever? Those are the things that superficially you think that's what's going to make it. That's what's going to make you feel like you finally become a man. And it's none of that stuff.
right.
For being,
those are all in there.
Yeah. they're all part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
you said it perfectly. It's like, hey, which one's that one? Well, that's your athlete right now, and that's this and this and the other. But when a man walks in the door, they immediately say it like that.
Yeah, yeah. So
well, I feel like being a man is also someone's got to make you feel like that too.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a feeling that you have inside, but if it's your wife, making you feel like you're a man, or your kids make, like how you have that dad feeling or whatever, like, oh, okay, someone's actually depending on me.
I think that's the word. Like it's dependability. If someone's depending on you and you can be held accountable for failure, like if you can be held accountable for the failure of something else, like now you can be a man. Because
be blamed for something and take the accountability.
If your family
for
fails, if you whatever,
all that,
like that's when it was.
Then
like,
you're a man.
I'm a man. I'm willing to protect my
family.
family.
If your family's happy and your life's still shit, you're doing your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's supposed to. I mean, if they got to give childbirth, all right, they got to go through that. Ours are like, we'll be outside.
Yeah.
Whatever comes with that.
Yep.
So if you're getting your nuts kicked in, congratulations, you got your damn man card, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's true. That was a huge part of it.
People overlook that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people struggle with that. Like, what does it mean to be that? What does it mean to be a man?
I think face kicked in.
Yeah. I think everybody finds it at a different time.
Right. Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Age is rank.
Yeah. So for me, like, I'd probably done almost half my career before I was like really felt like I wasn't a kid anymore.
That's how long it took to beat me and you down, bro. Just kind of get that card. Same way.
Yeah.
I was like, man, how do you even know if you're doing this right? I was like, man, if it's always crazy chaos and you're getting your beat down, in the good book it says that's what's supposed to happen to you.
Yeah, that's so interesting too, because you see so much about like toxic masculinity now and all of these things online and on the news, like trying to
just demasculate.
Yeah, to demasculate men. But there is a role for masculinity, and we have to have that in our society.
When you call the fire department, do you want masculinity to show up or do you not?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I think everyone.
How bad you want that fire put out?
Yeah.
I want the fire put out. Like, I want somebody who can get the job done.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I'm all about strong masculinity. I can't stand this, wave of, I don't know, people talking this bullshit about how we're raising too tough of men, or how, I'm like, what is
now
that?
I think it's just a struggle to
mean?
ensure they do grow up tough enough.
Right.
It's
the world made us this way. We didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's that gets overlooked too.
Yeah.
All right. So when you bumped out of the Q course, you went?
So I went to 10th group from there. So I was an Arabic speaker and a communicator. So I graduated as an 18 Echo as a staff sergeant.
And what was your language?
Arabic. Yeah.
Y'all are pretty squared away with that. Like with team guys, they'll send them to learn some stuff that probably never going to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, at that time, everybody, because we always obviously go through phases, but because everyone was so invested in Iraq and Afghanistan, those are the main languages. You're going to learn Iraq. You're going to learn Arabic. You might learn French. You're going to learn Spanish for the guys who are going down South America.
Yeah.
Or you're going to learn like Urdu or Pashto.
That's the thing about y'all. Y'all having to do that.
Yeah.
That's not in our program. That's one of the differences.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's nice to have. The amount of times I've actually used my language skills, I'd say fairly minimal.
Sure.
And Iraq a little bit, but their dialect's different enough.
Slang.
Yeah.
When we say dialect, we're talking about slang. It's like walking in any part of the United States, man. You'll hear the language, but man, there's some country folks that they talk so damn slow. It's hard to pick up what they're saying.
Yeah, go down south.
Some talk so fast.
Yeah, talk to the Cajuns. Boudreaux and Thibodeau.
Boom, right there. We got
guys.
climbing. That's what we're walking into over there.
Yeah.
Like when they send us back in time, we get with the cousins and everybody, you're looking around like, man, I kind of understand what you're saying, but your slang is so off. I don't.
So that's what it's kind of like. It's like taking an Oxford grad and sending him to the deepest swamp in Louisiana and having a conversation.
Right.
Like
trying to
same
teach
language,
but
you're gonna miss. And that was like my formal Arabic training against the places that I went that used it. So semi helpful, not entirely, but still great skill to have. So. So with that, I got sent to 10th group, which was great. That's where my dad grew up, and it was back to Colorado Springs, which is where, like I said, for the most part, I call home.
Going into your dad's house?
I don't know. I mean,
was it cool? Same locker?
It was cool.
Same stuff still there? Is it you scratch your name in?
Yeah,
I mean, give me something.
Yeah, I mean, I had only been to his team room one time, and looking back, I'm pretty sure at one point I was in the same building. I was trying to remember. I was like, is this the same building I went to when I was a kid? And he showed me the guys and all that stuff. But but it was just cool being part of the thumping ground.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Is he passed?
No, he's still in. He just retired. for the second time, because he transitioned the same. Yeah.
Wait, you're retiring tomorrow.
Yeah.
And your old man is retiring when?
He just retired his second position. So
I think you need to step up then, man.
I know. But I don't want to do that stuff anymore.
Anybody else catch that?
Yeah. He went.
Where's he at? Get your mom and him in here, man.
He retired and went to SOC North, or the TSOC over at Peterson Air Force Base, and he ran some sensitive stuff over there for like another 18, 19 years or so. So he just finished there.
Family and service. Thank you for
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you, family.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. No. I mean, amongst common company here, so of course it's reciprocated.
That's so cool.
So yeah, super cool, exciting, and got to 10th Group, and that's when the deployment started. Had Africa a couple times, which was great. I absolutely love Africa deployments.
Yeah.
And back to Iraq in 2010.
That was a bad year for us too.
Yeah, that was a weird year.
Weird, right?
Yeah, that was a really weird year.
How about that?
Anytime something's wrapping up or something is very politically tied, the mission sets get weird.
Yeah, that's right. That's what was going down.
Yeah, so it was like I've now been to 2 combat zones where the president on TV is saying we have now stopped and all combat troops are going home, and you're watching it on AFN right before you go out to go do a hit. Like,
oh, remember that?
Yep, all combat troops are gone, huh? Here we go. Like,
just us here.
Just us.
Isn't that weird? I remember that when they were saying that there was like people were saying, "Oh, there's no more war.
There's no more combat," and you're like, "Dude, like,
our friends and his brother was still over there." I'm like,
we've been through 3-4 presidents since then.
Yeah, and like that happens like a lot. Like it's a big signal that all combat troops have left. All right.
Well, then in 2000,
that means your boys are still over there doing
that.
The deal.
That means that we have to do it all.
Yep.
That means that we don't have route clearance anymore. Mm-hmm. That means that we don't have there's not a lot of activity to where you can seamlessly do what you need to do. Now you're the main show. Every time you go out, they know who you are. They know who has miniguns on their trucks, so it definitely changed the
they move around
dynamic. Us. Yeah. But I'll say that was a very non-kinetic deployment.
Yeah.
But the regular Army guys were getting hit all the time.
All the time.
We never got hit. I think they knew what the response was going to be. Our ROE was pretty unrestrictive when it came to
hunt them.
Yeah. So and we were eager for a fight. We were hoping for a fight. Whereas the regular Army guys, they were all buttoned up in all their stuff. I think at one point they weren't even allowed to have their weapons hot. They had to have the saw gunners had to have
ammo or anything.
Yeah, there was amber condition or whatever.
Who even comes up with that?
We saw a guy they would clear their weapons. They would do the test pit before they roll out, and then clear their weapon and then go out the gate. I'm like, this is weird. But those guys get hit all the time. But they would just sit there and just take it in the armor and then just roll through or whatever. But yeah, we did tons and tons of operations, and it was just super quiet. No, at that point, they knew that if I fight back, I'm going to get killed. If I get arrested, I'm going to get released. So I'm just going to sit there and just, if you take me,
and we wait on you to kill you.
Yeah. So oh, all right, that's it. And we have ISR making sure that
because we
don't do anything.
We integrated into those neighborhoods and figured out who the gangs were and how that shit was working. And once we did that, it was wasn't a problem.
Yeah, so super weird time. I mean, fun deployment, but not very kinetic deployment. But still great. I've never had a bad SF deployment, even if there's bad stuff in it. So.
Those are the ones you wind up talking about the most.
Yeah.
Not those high target ones, man. Those, like you said, the kinetic ones, the ones where we're always doing something. It's the ones where we're going off and we're sitting idle hands, right?
Yeah.
We find stuff to do.
Dude.
It's so much fun.
I tell you what, team guys can be troublemakers. If you don't have a job for those dudes, they're I had a guy who he graduated from West Point.
Remember we always had to hear that? Look busy. All right.
He was told before he took a team, he's like, look, running an SF team, you're not going to have to worry about chaptering guys all the time. You're not going to have Joe problems. You're going to have international incident problems.
Right.
If you have a problem on your team, it could be big.
Huge.
These are grown men who have great ideas and they're incredibly smart, and when they get bored, man, they can be creative. So
awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even believe what we come up with.
Yeah. Idle special operations hands.
Oh man, it's the best.
Can be very creative.
That's why when you start getting them doing dumb stuff, right?
Yeah.
When you see them hey man, let's just keep you busy.
Yeah. Have I seen an MRAP turbo turned into a jet for a hot tub? Yes, I have.
Sure.
Oh my gosh.
Who hadn't seen that one play out before?
Yeah. So.
Matter of fact, it'd get emailed over on the high side. Great idea for you guys. Try this out.
Yeah, check this out. Yeah. So Yeah.
Oh
Don't. So yeah, that's it. Don't have bored SF guys. If they're not doing anything, send them home. I don't know.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, they start harassing the agency guys and everybody else we can find.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, so rotating. How many years?
Yeah.
Did you pull?
Yeah. So 20. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
So 20 and done for me.
And now we're doing what?
And now we're moving on to HVMN, the company that's has the ketone shots.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So
how'd you even come into this?
Yeah. So my final position in the Army was working at the Special Operations Mountain Warfare Training Center. It's gone by many names, but that's the one that it's finally landed on.
It's a real place, and this is a real guy.
Yeah, it's a real place, I'm a real guy, and my specialty in Special Forces has always been as a mountain guy, which is it's like a niche within a niche. Not a lot of guys even know it exists or what they do. I didn't even by the time I got there. So everything I had done at SF was all mountain oriented. I was a mountaineering instructor, so teaching climbing, teaching rope systems, skiing, and all that stuff. And then when I became a warrant,
that's what you got to do for a job.
That was a job.
Did you hear that? I mean, everyone always glazes over that, and that's the most fascinating. That's not in the brochure either.
There is definitely a lot of people at that time that were like, "You realize you have the dream job.
Dude, you get a ski instructor.
You are skiing. You're climbing. You're in the mountains all the time. Whatever. Yeah,
you live in Colorado Springs.
Yeah. So there was definitely there was definitely times where I was like incredibly thankful for the route that I had gone and how I got to that position. So
and the best is the middle rank too when you get because you don't have the top response. I mean, literally, you get to show up to work out, eat, and be like, "Hey man, what do you want me to do?"
Yeah, being an instructor there was great. I mean, having a family and having kids was tough in that, which it is during your entire career. But we were gone a lot, probably more often than being on an ODA. As a mountain instructor, I was gone. So I was in the same state, but I wasn't in my bed. So.
Which makes it worse, probably.
Yeah, because you're like right there, you're gone, and like it's also hard to like when your spouse knows that you're like gone and you're skiing and you're staying in Vail.
Well, we didn't have to talk about that.
Yeah, like
because I've heard some of the. I wasn't married when I was in it when allowed, but I would hear some of the guys. They come in, you see them. You could tell there's a difference between being pissed off when a dude pisses you off, and when your wife rips you.
Oh, yeah,
it's a different look.
And I could always
all together.
She knew it was an important job. She knew what I was doing was.
She said they would go camping. But so how was it so hard? You're going camping, like
well, sometimes it's hard. The Army makes things worse than it needs to be. That's right. Just what we do,
They leave that part out.
Yeah. So so I was a career mountain guy. From there, I went and got my commission as a warrant. Came back and took a mountain team.
Which means what?
So I became a warrant officer, so you're going to be the assistant detachment commander. So you're an officer with prior enlisted service in Special Forces. So with that, you're the second guy on the team. If the team splits, you're the number one guy for your split team. And now you are, I guess, like, there's a lot of core competencies that revolve around it, but the biggest part of it is you are the continuity on the team. Your time there is going to lapse several team sergeants, several commanders, and you're the one who's ultimately progressing the team as a whole to get to where it needs to be.
Once you make that and you get in that position, you have to hold that position.
Yeah, so you'll stay on a team. Yeah, so you'll stay on a team for another couple years, which it's a great opportunity to get more team time, but then also to apply the knowledge and experience you have into growing and building a team.
Sure.
So like,
is there a limit on how much time you can do operational? Because for our guys, some of the guys get like a 3-year kind of deal.
It's not really a hard number, but just with the amount of people we have and the jobs that have to happen.
Because you got to rotate dudes.
Yeah, guys just have to take positions, So for me,
it's nothing personal.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. Guys need to go be instructors.
Guys hate that.
Hold on, back to Vail. So if you're having to go, if you're having to go to Vail, are you camping out there,
Don't answer that
or
this is when the Air Force comes into play?
I'll tell you the name of the place we stayed, and then just you can draw your conclusions. It was called the Vail Racket Club.
Oh my gosh!
And it wasn't camping.
And your wife just can't show up?
I mean, she's got mom duties. We got kids that go to school. We got
raising Lillins.
I will be. I always wanted to find a way. Like every time I'm doing something that just feels great that I like doing, I always feel guilty that I can't bring my wife along. I always try to. I gotta get you out with me. Honey. I gotta get you to this point. But it's just not in the cards. So
it's nerve-wracking.
I will regress when I say Vail Racket Club. I know it sounds like bougie, but it was cheaper to stay there, and it was right next to the training areas. There's a lot of good ice climbing
Hey,
there.
bro, we're retired. Our wars are over. Don't ever apologize for the cool shit we got, man.
So
I mean,
it made sense where we stayed there, but a lot of people definitely like raise their eyebrows.
Get
when we
pissed off. Don't let the
staying.
new kids stay there. That's fine.
Yeah. So,
fix the problem.
Mountain shit's stressful. Like, and it's scary, especially for guys that don't do it. So the least amount of stress that doesn't need to be there that we can remove, the better training we're going to get. Like, we don't need a guy who's tired because he's not sleeping well, who's like living in shit conditions while he's learning. Like, we want a guy who's ready to learn, and then they can move in where it sucks.
Oh yeah, one at a time.
Yeah, and we do get to that point. But yeah, there is a veil part, which is pretty nice.
And there's some stuff you learn just in that piece too. Yeah, that's a different part of training.
Yeah, like you need to learn the technical.
You do that in the
aspect.
beginning.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beginning of the course.
You do that in the beginning, you get your ass whipped. That's how that works. And then
it is not a stressful course in that like you don't get yelled at. We're very personable within students because you need to be.
We put it on ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it feeds itself, man. Like especially if you get older guys in there, we're like, hey, we do good at this. We don't do. It's its own kind of machine.
Yeah, it's not selection again.
As soon as they locked us into place, the first guys that came online started that.
Mm-hmm.
And every guy who comes in after him has a duty to, an obligation to make it.
You know, one thing I've noticed as I've gone through my own struggles is that there's a lot more guys who have issues than are willing to say they have issues. And we self-disqualify ourselves because we're always told what PTSD looks like. It's the guy this guy's selling all his stuff, or this guy's acting different. All of a sudden he's happy when he wasn't, or he's like really hitting the bottle hard. And there's all these signs. And when you don't see that, you think that you're okay or someone else is okay, which is why every time, like, unfortunately, guys are taking their lives a lot in this community, which sucks. It's always somebody you're like, I never knew that guy was going to do that. He seemed like he had his shit together. Yeah. So there's a lot of people who are self-disqualifying themselves because they're comparing themselves to what they think it should look like, or they're just embarrassed to like say they have an issue, or even more so, they don't want someone else to deal with their stuff, which was me. Like, this is my problem. I earned my problem. It's not my family's problem. It's not the doctor's problem. I'm going to own it and I'm going to live through my life. And that was the wrong answer because I was like, I wasn't right during that time. What was your
problem? Do you mind saying what that was?
Yeah.
What you struggled with?
Yeah. So I had an event, and I go into the story on it too, in Afghanistan that challenged me morally. I was directly responsible for the death of some young children. And like, of all the things I had done overseas and all like that part of things that I'd seen, that one, like, that was really rough. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I dealt with guilt with it. I dealt with, like, I had flashbacks on it and all this stuff. But it's all stuff that I would, like, try to manage on my own because I was like, I can still work. I can still be a dad, whatever. But in private, like, I would have these, you know, things pop up and, like, my nose would start to burn and my lip would quiver and, like, I'd have to shake this stuff away and, like, I put it away enough to where maybe once, twice a month, like in the kitchen after the kids go to bed, I would put on some tunes that I knew were going to take me there, and like I just have a breakdown, and I would I want to like hate myself and I don't want to be around anymore, and at the same time I want to go back and I want to kill everybody, like, and I would go through those like pretty often. And that was just going to be part of my life. That's just who I was at that point. I was a guy that did that in private and nobody knew about it, and it wasn't until a friend of mine who was on the same trip, who told me he was retiring for PTSD, he was getting medically retired. He was like, dude, like, my wife noticed that I wasn't who I used to be and convinced me to talk to somebody, and it changed everything. And that's where, that's what happened with me. And it wasn't until somebody I trusted that I knew that told me that they were feeling what I was feeling, because we didn't talk about that stuff, right, that I was willing to go get help on it. And when I did, it was rough. Really rough. And this was recent. This is like this spring. Like I dealt with this for years. And, you know, she made me go into the story, close my eyes, relive every single detail, had to be there. And I had to be able to relive it over and over and over again until I could finally get through it. And then we could figure out why it was affecting me the way it was. So, it's a huge problem in the community. And I think normalizing conversation and saying that it's okay to have those feelings. It doesn't make you less of an operator. It doesn't make you whatever. Like, you know, in the end, we're not robots. We're still humans. And especially if you grew up with a value system or whatever, like you can do things that challenge those, especially overseas, you know, like 360-degree combat, women die, children die, friends die, you know, like it happens. And some of those things can trigger that stuff. So, that's kind of like, I guess, the overview on where that went. And, I wouldn't say like, is it team never quit? Because I quit. I quit for a couple years. I quit on myself, quit on my family. Like I was like subtly quitting for a while until I bounced back. So maybe it's like a delayed never quit. I don't know, so.
Oh, it's kind of like delayed obedience, man.
Yeah.
You get the urge to quit. You feel like you're quitting.
Yeah.
But there's still there's some fire deep down inside.
There was enough.
That got you enough to where you went and got help.
Yeah.
And that's not quitting.
No.
Because that's actually restarting and saying, okay, I can live with what has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I can live for my family.
Yeah.
I can live for me, and I can give back. And your way of giving back is through your transition and helping the guys make sure that they've got this, supplement. But that's not all you are.
No, that's
just
like
a part of who you are, but you are giving back, and that's not quitting. It's not quitting on yourself. It's not quitting on your family, and you're not quitting on the guys coming in behind you.
Yeah, I think it's just it's tough because you don't get time back. It's expendable and it doesn't come back. Non-renewable source. Mm-hmm. And when I look back at how I performed from the period from when it happened to when I started getting better, like, man, I was just like operational guys are like really good at still working when there's issues because that's just ingrained in us. So you're like, instead of being a functional alcoholic, you're like a functional depressive. Like you can put it on and you can still work good enough. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I wasn't where I needed to be. And as a direct reflection of me applying guilt to the situation and just my own penance that I gave myself was like, I don't deserve success. I don't deserve to be good. I deserve to be like just mediocre. Like I was going to get out of the army and just dig holes or just like do something mindless and just be a nobody. That's who I wanted to be because that's what I felt like I'd earned with what I'd done. And, we can go into the story. I think it's valuable if you guys...
Yeah, we'd love it. If you're okay with telling it.
Yeah, if you want to go there. But I think it's valuable. Again, like, I don't like talking about it, but I hope if one person hears it and says, man...
We don't like anyone to be uncomfortable,
No.
and that's why we try not to pull it out. But if you're willing to say it and to talk about it, then
I mean, growth doesn't come from comfortability.
Right.
It comes from being uncomfortable. It comes from doing things. So I'm happy to do it, and not just challenge myself, but then also to potentially somebody that could help.
Well, if you're okay with telling it, let's hear it.
Yeah. So this was in Afghanistan, kind of southeast area, and we were doing a counter ISIS operation, which is truly the best enemy that you could be assigned against because like they don't have borders, they're just true pure evil, and just everything about fighting those guys feels righteous. Like I care less about killing an ISIS fighter. It doesn't matter. Like the more the better, just because of what they are and what they're going to do. And we've seen what they're going to do to women and children and everything. So we're doing a counter ISIS operation, and we were living at a RON site, a rest overnight site, which was the joke because it was more of a rest over year site. It was like a bombed out building, and that's just where we lived. Our security was the village around us. They were the ones because we had razors, we had ATVs. That's how we got around. That was the only way to get around. So our reputation with them was very important, and we were also. This was should be 2017, 2018, in and around that time frame. So. One of the days we were looking at clearing territory, and it was really like capture the flag. Like they would put a flag up in an area and clear it out. And we would go take it and take the flag out, try to put people back in there and expand territory. And one of the places we were going to go, we were like, all right, we're going to give this back to the populace. It's going to expand our security, and we'll kill a bunch of ISIS guys in the meantime. So we had a RON site set up ahead. So we had a couple guys there. We had a sniper team there, a couple security guys, and then our commandos. And I was the ground force commander at the time. The team leader was doing something else. And I remember I was super happy that day. It was a great looking day. We knew we were going to get in a great operation. I had just gotten promoted like that day. So I was like, this is going to be great, And we get a call right away from the aircraft. Hey, we've got two guys messing around up in the hills up over your guys. I was like, okay, cool. Keep an eye on them. We talked to the sniper team. Hey, yep, we got eyes on them. We can see them. We're not sure what they're doing yet. Bird calls back down. Hey, 2 ADMs again. And that's very important here. ADMs, adult males, for those who haven't heard the lingo. Mm-hmm. All right, good. Fighting age men who are up on the mountains above our guys. This is going to be a great, easy kill. And the reason why you're excited about that is like anytime you can do something in daylight just sends a message as well, you know? So it's like if they know that if they're going to step up or try something, like there's no chance of success, like you're going to die, which is great for our operation in preparation for taking territory. So everything was still positive. I was still really happy about it. And then we get the call again, hey, they're digging weapons out of a cache. Like, oh, this is just getting better and better. You know, again, excitement, good, easy operation. Now they start moving towards our guys. All right, that's it. That's all I need. Like, you now have adult males, you now have positive identification for guns, and they're now posing a threat to your guys. So we called in through the CCT. We had an AC-130 overhead. And when I made the call, because of the operation we were about to do, we wanted maximum like effect. I was like, don't just kill these guys, like destroy the cache, hammer down. That way it's less resistance as we push through, you know? So they did. And if you've never seen an AC-130 hammering down on something close, it's freaking exciting and it's awesome. Like the puffs of smoke from the aircraft and just the sounds, like everything. It's super exhilarating. It's awesome. Like it's one of my favorite platforms after the A-10. So they hammer down and I get reports from snipers. Hey, yep, these guys are dead. They're slumped over. They're done. Great, mission success. Well, not long after that, we get a call. And they're saying, hey, the villagers are saying that you just killed some kids. I'm like, no, the aircraft told us they were adults and they had weapons. Sorry, maybe they're young, you know, because culturally, someone might say that, hey, it's a kid, but they might mean like a 17-year-old or 18-year-old. It's still a fighting age person. So, you know, it's just a translation issue. So they're like, no, I definitely say they're kids. And the sniper's like, no, man, like, I can't tell from here. But what they did see is they saw people going up. They saw women going up to the bodies to go remove weapons. So they were going and hiding the weapons. So at that point, we're like, okay, shoot. Hey, the villagers, they say they're definitely kids. We want you to pay for the funeral and all this. And it's easy to not care that much sometimes because, you know, we knew they had guns and we knew it was like a clean kill. But our relationship with the villagers was our security. You know, we didn't have the option to just blow it off and say, yeah, you know, whatever, if it is, it is, because like we don't need one of those guys to turn on us or allow an option for an ambush or whatever later. So we still had a requirement to maintain reputation with the villagers. So like, all right, I need to get out there. I was about a mile and a half, maybe two miles away from the Ron site. We get in the razors, we shoot down to those guys, and it's starting to get like super chaotic. We have like my small handful of guys, we have our commandos, we have the villagers, we have the local police, and all those guys are starting to get really heated. And like it's me, like this is my element at this point to take care of it. So I tell guys, you guys focus on security, pay attention. It's prime opportunity for a green on blue, for like maybe a guy that worked in your unit that said, this is the day they just killed some of our people, I'm going to turn on you. Or for even, you know, again, something to happen while we're distracted. So we're up there, we're trying to defuse this. And they say, we're going to bring the bodies here so you can see that they were kids. I was like, no, you don't need to do that. I don't care. We saw what we saw. Like, this is over, you know, like, no, we're bringing them. Here comes the truck, white Hilux is pulling up the dry creek bed to get to where we're at. They walk me over to it. I tell the guys to pull off. Like, you guys, I will handle this. You guys keep a lookout, internally and externally. And then we get to the truck. They pull the blankets back. I can see the bodies in there. They pull the blankets back. And they only pulled them back like just behind the neck. And the first thing I noticed was just how young these were kids. There wasn't a translation issue. Probably like 8-10 years old. And I had boys that age at that time. So immediately those boys' faces became my boys' faces. Like, that's what I see. And whenever I go back there, that's the only part that's different from reality, is that it's my kids' faces. And I just remember how clean they were. Like, they were drained of color, obviously, but they weren't like, they just looked like they were sleeping. It was just like the innocence, like everything was there. And it was just like, shocked me. And maybe that was 5 seconds long. Maybe to me, it felt like much longer. And everything around it was a blur at that time. Like everything was mumbled. It was just me focused there. And then they pull the blankets back the rest of the way. And that's where all the carnage was. Completely dismembered. And just like, they had to prove a point of just how dead these kids were. So they're taking body parts. They're taking like limbs and like holding them up in front of me. Like, I remember taking like this kid's like lower leg and his foot and just holding it up right in my face, and just like a little kid's foot, and like look how dead they are. You killed kids. Look at all this stuff. And just like, it was just like crushing me inside. But you don't have the time to deal with that in that situation. You have to be in reality. You have to take care of the guys. You have to move past the situation. Again, the longer you're there, the worse it's going to get, the better opportunity for something bad to happen while you're distracted. So, you know, as best I could, I reeled myself in and just say, hey, look, we didn't kill these kids. ISIS killed these kids. They recruited them. They gave them the weapons. They told them what to do. We facilitated the transfer, but ISIS killed these kids. We're sorry. We're not paying for a funeral. This is what it is. We got to bounce. So, we packed up. We got in a couple of Razors and ATVs, and we started rolling out. And the horrible thing about leaving that area from a tactical standpoint was you had to go through a dry creek bed. So you're slow moving because it's big rocks you're moving through. 30-foot cliffs on both sides. One of them was just rock outcroppings. The other is like house built along the cliffs. And so it's like, it's prime time for an ambush. It's like the worst place you would want to be without armor moving through, you know. It would be a bad fight. So as we were moving through, I just started getting that feeling like, man, we're about to get hit. And I've had that feeling multiple times through my career. Most of the time it's right. It's a weird thing. I think a lot of guys have felt that before, like something's not right. And I just had this thought that like, if we get hit, I want to get hit first, and I feel like I deserve it. Like I had at that point applied it to myself that I had earned like death. Like that's what should happen to me. And not in the point to where like if there was a fight, I wouldn't have like fought back, but like I kind of was like, this is going to be my penance. It's going to happen right now, and that's it. I'm not even going to fight. So I'm just going to get hit and be done. Lights out. And it didn't happen. It was quiet as a mouse. So we rolled through the rest of the way, got back to our little site. I ground my gear, get in my room, which I was sharing with my buddy Matt, and he was in there at the time. And, you know, I went in and I just like grabbed him and just broke down. I was like, man, I just killed these kids, dude. Like, hands down, like, I just killed these kids. And I was happy about it. And like, what the fuck are we doing now? And it's just like all those thoughts, everything I'd seen, everything I'd done, just like all came collapsing down. Yeah, and it's just something I couldn't shake. And from that point, I just applied so much guilt to it that it's like, those kids, because of what I did, I don't deserve to live a fulfilling life anymore. Like, and there's times when, like, I never thought I was going to hurt myself, but there was definitely times where I was like, if something happened, like, I'd be okay with that because that's what should happen. And I applied that to myself. And I did that for a number of years. I mean, like I said, it was this year's when I started getting, it was 2022, and this happened that many years ago. And I just put it in my pocket, and I just kept dealing with it on my own. And I think the biggest sign that I knew I needed to really process it was driving my kids to school one day. I started going there, and normally I can shake it off pretty well, but by the time I got it out of my head, I'd probably driven 15 miles, completely not in the real world, like driving, but like not really driving. And I was just thinking, like, if there had been construction that wasn't there before, if there had been a turn that wasn't there, if anything out of the ordinary would happen, I would have just wrecked the car without even knowing about it, possibly like hurt or killed my own kids. So at that point, I knew that I was no longer handling it by myself. Like, I was putting other people at risk. And coincidentally, right around that same time was when I talked to my friend who had gotten help and who was already getting out. And he introduced me to the lady that I started talking to, and that was the beginning of healing. And it wasn't easy. Like, if guys think that they're going to go in and talk to somebody and it's going to be like, oh, you know, I told my story, now I'm good. Like, it's going to be painful. Like, it's not easy to talk about that shit. It sucks. And you have to relive it over and over and over. And you record yourself. And you have to listen to it between sessions. And it wasn't until I could make it through and I could really process it that we could talk about why I was behaving the way I was and why I had applied this guilt to myself erroneously. You know, like, really, like, it didn't need to happen, but I did. And it stuck with me. It became part of who I was. So at this point, like, I feel like I want to grow. I want to do better. And I can look back and say that I was for the last couple of years, I was like 70% of who I could have been. You know, the better I did, the worse I felt, because again, I feel like I was doing a disservice to those kids by thriving, you know. So once I was finally able to remove that and turn it into a memory and something that's developed who I am and understood why that was so impactful for me, was the point to where I was able to be okay that happened. Not okay, like, not obviously I didn't want it to happen, but I can live with it, which is something that I wasn't doing well before. And I hid this from everybody. Like, my wife didn't know about it, my friends didn't know about it, like, nobody knew I was suffering. They just knew that I was just like wasn't performing that well. So I guess that would be my message for guys. Like, if something's not right, just talk to somebody. Like, it's easy to make appointments and whatever. The worst that could happen is if you go there and it's just like, yeah, I guess I'm fine. Like she said, I'm fine. It's, you know, whatever. The best thing could happen is it could like change your entire life moving forward. Right. So like, don't compare yourself to other guys. Don't look and say, well, this guy was in this crazy situation and he seems to be doing fine. Who am I to go get help for this minuscule situation or whatever? Like, don't do that. Like, everyone's different. How do you know that guy's doing okay? Because we don't talk about that stuff. So.
Well, and I feel like everybody, even though all of y'all have your own stories, there's trauma in war.
Yeah.
I'm point blank. Everybody's trauma is different, but y'all have all experienced trauma, and it's okay to get help.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're broken. Yeah. It just means, Marcus and I call
it's
it
normal
upgrade.
to get help. It should be normalized.
Well, there's some groups of people down here, you throw a certain one on them, they'll turn it off. It's like when you tell us to quit something. I mean, you just, we react differently.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to go in there and tell that guy, like, hey man, we got a new training cycle for you.
Yeah.
Because you qualified for this one.
Yeah.
You put so much heavy weight in and so much heavy lifting in that you qualified for this part of it.
Yeah.
And there's only one way to do that. You got to go through what a lot of us have to go through down here. I mean, those bad times and that stuff that unlocks the door for sure.
Yeah.
You just didn't know which one it was.
Yeah.
And then when you walk in there and you kind of, when somebody you identify it.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's like it's cracking that shell on something that was, like, you don't get battle weakened, man. You get battle hardened.
Yeah.
And you learn from that. And a lot of that times we go through so much. Most people will go through an event and then they'll have some reflection time.
Yeah.
Man, we don't have that.
No.
We stack another event there.
We
stack another one.
We continue.
And then when you get a pause time, because here's what I hear is like, guys will be like, man, 30 years ago when I thought about this one, I was like, well, that's because you hadn't started thinking.
Yeah.
It starts in order.
Yeah.
From your first one, like, it's funny what bothers us is like, man, it's one of the first ones I ever did. I don't even remember it.
And you might have felt completely indifferent to it at the time.
Yeah, different, right?
And we're so good at sticking that stuff in our pockets and saying, I'm going to deal with it later, and then not dealing with it later.
Because and what happens is we learn how to deal with it over time, but at that moment in the beginning of time, we didn't know how.
Yeah.
So it's stuck in there. It's snuck in there.
Yeah.
Before we can learn how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's always the ones you don't expect.
Yeah.
And you're like, is that logical? Does that
yeah,
make sense?
No, it is, yeah.
And someone explained it to me, and when we were thinking about it, I was like, yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have time. Because even when we get back, the training's harder.
Yeah, you get back, you're going to like...
And it's like,
you're going to pretend that you rebuilt your family after a deployment in 2 weeks, and then you're going to get right back to training. Yeah, so it's the op-tempo. And I think that's why we see such an issue with guys at the end of their career, 5 to 10 years after they get out. Yeah. I'm sure you've gotten the phone call. Hey, did you know what's his name just like killed himself? And it's just like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, it happens more than it should in this community. And I think that's a big part of it is like, we don't fully close the book on some of that stuff. And
you got buddies in.
Yeah.
They stay in.
Yeah.
And even if you try to fix it, if you got 1 foot in it, your buddy will call you up.
Yeah, exactly.
And immediately drop that back in there.
Yeah.
And we're so in tune with each other that you got to ignore everything else.
Yep. So yeah, I just, like I said, it's great talking about the work stuff. It's super cool. I love that side of it. But more important to me, and personally, again, with having friends that I've lost, that have taken their own lives and all this stuff too, is that like, if that's the one thing that happens out of this period, that's the most important thing. If somebody heard it and was like, man, like, I've been doing a little bit of the same thing, or maybe I'll go talk to somebody. Hands down worth it. Doesn't matter how hard it is to talk about it.
So speaking of needing to be at peak performance and all of that, is that how you got introduced to HVMN?
Yeah. So with that, after my team time was done, I was chosen to be the commander for the mountain school, and right when I got there was the same time that HVMN was working on a grant that they had gotten from SOCOM. So there was a DARPA project like 15, 20 years ago called Operation Metabolic Dominance, and the whole point was like, how do we protect guys' brains when they're up at altitude? Because obviously, like the higher you are, the less oxygen availability you have, which makes you lose cognitive function. It's a very real thing. Looking back at some of the mistakes I've made in the mountains, I was like, why would I ever have done this? Why did this happen?
Bro, they make movies about how bad I get my ass in the mountains.
The mountains, they even without bad guys, the mountains will try to kill you.
Kicks my ass all the time.
Yeah, and even personally, I look back. One of the worst times I had was I was guiding 2 students. I'd gone through all my checks. It was on a multi-pitch rappel where, I'm guiding. I'm going to rappel down to the next anchor point, set it up, bring them down to me. And I was about to set up for the next rappel, and I checked all their stuff. I checked my stuff. I have a very procedural way I do it. I always pride myself on how I did that. I started on my rappel, undid my safety because I was like, yep, rappel's working. And it just wasn't working right. And I was leaning back off this cliff. And I look up. My belay device wasn't even hooked onto the rope. I was only on my backup. And I was just like, why in the world would I have ever made that decision? And I looked back and I was like, wow, I was exerting myself in altitude, which is why there was just a cognitive loss. And you can do things like that. Little mistakes like that could take an operator out. What would the student's story have been if I'd have just backed off that cliff? It'd be like, yeah, he said, see you guys at the bottom, and just went.
Hey, we thought, hey.
Yeah. So
check that guy out.
So basically, when I had heard that they were coming up with a thing that was going to help protect guys against that, I was already immediately intrigued, having been in that situation before. So they came on board. They came down and said, hey, this is what a ketone is. This is how it helps your brain. And we did some objective testing on it. So take some bottles, go out, let us know what you think about it. Gen 1 was pretty hard to handle, and it was incredibly expensive. When it first came, it would have been $2,500 a shot. So basically, what you would get in one of these would be $2,500, just because the technology wasn't there to produce the ketones efficiently. And since then, they've now have one that's these is $5 a shot now, and it's actually palatable, and it works better than the first one did. So having worked with the company for 3 years or so, basically facilitating the testing on it, when I announced my retirement and I was handing them off to who was going to be, handling that side of the house, because they're still testing. Probably up until June, they're going to be done. They said, how would you like to work on as an advisor? Would you like to come on board? We've liked working with you in the past. So that's how I got involved with the program. And to this day, it's so beneficial. And it's one of those things that's I imagine when Gatorade came out, people were like, why are you guys drinking salts and stuff? Why are you drinking electrolytes? We drink water. We're fine. It's kind of the same thing. Now it's this is something that your body already does naturally. Ketones aren't new. Your body will make ketones.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But the way we eat these days, we will never experience that naturally unless you hunt for it.
Yeah.
But when you do that, now you have to be on a keto diet, and then you can't have carbs or anything like that. And when you don't have carbs, that's another fuel source that you need when you're really exerting yourself. So really the play is that you can dual fuel now. You can take what's the most efficient fuel, which is a ketone that your body actually produces, and you can also have carbs on board for when you need it. So you get all the mental clarity, all the stuff that you need from the ketones, and then you still get to have carbs. You don't have to have a restrictive diet. You drink it and you're instantly in it. So super, super intriguing product, super awesome application for the ground guys. And when the company said that hey, I have an opportunity to get this into the hands of guys, because I have guys that are paying for this with their own money, which I hate. I'm sure you've bought plenty of stuff with your own money that you were they should be giving me this. It's the same thing. So that's my end, is to.
So what it does at altitude, when you bring that down to sea level, it amplifies it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And going back to biochem and the way it works, it has to do with how efficient it fuels. It takes less oxygen per particle to function, so it burns more efficiently. It's basically the path of least resistance for fueling for the brain.
Slow burning fuel, right?
Yeah, it's like if your body ran on a diesel generator, but it also had the opportunity to run on 110 race fuel. You can now run both. So your body's a multi-fuel system. It's freaking incredible. So you get to put all the fuels in it your body needs, and it uses what it needs when it's appropriate. So
it's kind of I saw there's a candle we have in our house. I walk past it all the time. One of the prayer candles.
Yeah.
It burns for a month, dude.
Yeah. It's super efficient fuel.
Freaking month.
Yeah.
And then there's some of them, the fragrant candles in the house, man. Those suckers will go down like catch fire.
And those aren't cheap.
No.
Those aren't cheap. You buy your apple pie
that's
candle.
That's what we're talking about right now. It's
exactly.
slow burn, fast burn.
It's an efficiency in fueling. Yeah.
And your body gives you the compensation to switch, do both.
The body knows.
The body knows.
Did it make you jittery or anything?
No. So that's the big difference. Like there's two big misconceptions that I think definitely need to go out here. One is that it's not a replacement for coffee or energy drinks or whatever, because it's not a stimulant. So like coffee works differently. It's not a fuel source. Right. It's a stimulant, and it's great. Like I freaking love coffee.
I just started. It's a great habit.
You should. If you're familiar with company, there's a couple companies out there that make coffee.
Yeah. But, I literally just started the habit because my buddy started a coffee company, and I'm enjoying it.
Imagine that.
Marcus didn't drink coffee before. He just in the last year started.
Well, I hope that coffee company does well.
Yeah, me too, man. Good for them.
But so the one is that it's not a replacement for that. It stacks really well with that. Use them both, And the other is that it's not a is it technically keto? Yeah, it's keto. Like if you're on that diet, but it's not for people who are doing keto.
Right.
It can be, but the point is that you don't have to.
Does it attach well to those people who are doing the diet?
Yeah, it's just more fuel.
No, for you.
Yeah, just more fuel. So, yeah.
That's so interesting. So your goal at the end of this is for the military to pick this up and just use it as part of like the implementation for just getting these guys not only healthy but like keep maintaining and
I'm sure like even on your deployments, I don't know how many wild tigers or rippets you used to slam or whatever.
Well, we don't even remember they had stuff back in the day. Now
crazy stuff. Guys have like yellow jackets and stacker twos.
How about
and
that?
Freaking dump
the stuff
pouches.
You used to get at the gas station.
What was the?
Yeah.
They stopped making the rip fuel with the had the pseudoepinephrine. I think it was. You could tell when you open that bottle.
Yeah.
What looked at?
Guys are like slamming pre-workout before an operation and all that stuff. And like, that's like, man, like, but that's what you had.
It's like, hey man, did you get a heart attack? No, I went right past it.
Yeah. I was too busy to have a heart attack.
Too busy. My heart was going too fast.
I'll have one later. Yeah. I don't have time for this
way too fast to have a heart attack.
So ultimately, my goal would be for this to be made available to the guys on the ground that need it. For the guys the cyber warriors who want to have the increased brain function, they want to be faster, they want to think better, they want to be clearer. Great for those guys, but for this to be in the ops ends, for guys to hit this thing before they go on operations, or to have it in a freaking LURPs, like the little like mini MREs that have like, the snacky poos and all that stuff in it, like that's where it belongs. That's the right place for it. And
so ours is underwater all the time, man. Yeah. Ours would have to be condensed even smaller. You couldn't bring anything that.
Yeah.
And then they tested everything they could on us to see.
Oh, I'm sure.
Us and the pilots, right?
Yeah.
To see how long we could go in those kind of conditions.
Yep.
And that's what it was all about.
Yeah.
Have y'all done that? Have you branched out to different
undersea? The world, man, is
way different. And I was never a dive guy. I'm not a big shark person, and they don't have sharks in the mountains yet, so that's where I will remain.
Yeah, he's not a big shark guy either.
How about that, man? I was thinking going down there, man.
Oh, dude, the one time I did a water jump in Florida, and they were like, this is like the largest concentration of bull shark areas there are.
Why are we jumping here?
We're going to jump in. We're going to be wearing black. I'm going to be having fins to make me look. I'm going to look more like a fish that can't swim because I'm a mountain guy. And I'm jumping in, and like we're looking off the tailgate of the ramp, and the jump master guy on my team was even more scared of sharks than I was, and he's seeing the shapes.
Oh my god!
And he's just like, and his job is to say, "Follow me." I was not a free fall guy. I was a static line guy the entire time.
On a rope.
So yeah, that was me.
Yeah,
go where the wind takes me for the most part. So yeah, his job was to say, "Follow me," and we all followed him, looking down like, "Oh gosh,"
So we're dressed in jet black.
Yeah.
And then you got these fins on, and your hands frolicking at your side. And when you hit that water, I mean, it looks like a great big. It's unbelievable. When he's talking about static line, so imagine the sky in the air. It's like a big sea. And when you hear men at war, or just like in the ocean, you got the blue ocean, you got man of war jellyfish, and you got the men of war in the sky. And the man of war jellyfish just kind of float through, and if they hit you, they kill you. That's what it looks like when we jump out of there.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. When you hit the water, I mean, water jump's kind of great.
It is cool. Yeah. You're not going to get hurt.
Yeah. I mean, that's the cool part.
And we had, what's funny is going in, like we were all like, oh, because none of us had really done that part of it. Because again, we weren't scuba guys. So we were like, oh, I got my knife with me. I got my whatever with me. So we were like prepared for that scenario. And one of my guys so we had our fins tied up with like 80-pound tests so we can rip them and put them on when we got to the water. And he gets in the water and his fin had busted loose on the jump. He said it came up and bumped him in the leg while he first got in the water. He says, every bit of me that thought I was going to take a knife and fight off a shark, he's like, I curl into a ball
and scream.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah, that's right.
That's naturally what happened. So,
dude, when the man in the gray suit shows up, it's like a humbling experience when you're not in your world down there. You're like, oh, all right, because there was some big stuff, especially at night.
Oh, yeah, scary stuff. I mean, hats off to that side of the house. But
don't come down there if you
yeah. So to answer your question on like whether we've explored that part of it, SOCOM as an umbrella, the project was for altitude, but the results that we're seeing in the testing is going to have application to all those guys. And because SOCOM, like the NSW, MARSOC, AFSOC, SF Command, like all of them are under that, that's all the direction that would go when it becomes a procurement option. So,
well, with our crew too, one of the good things is if some of the guys start operating on it and it works, then it'll pass around so fast by word of mouth.
And that's
so
the
even if you don't
goal,
get it in the beginning, the guys will make their way up the chain.
Yeah.
And pull it with them.
And that's really what we're doing here is like, it's me, like, it's getting out to the community, getting out on the platforms so guys can try it. And because when the demand signal comes from the ground guys and it gets out to the units, then it's like, okay, get these for the guys. You only buy Oakleys for so long before they show up in the supply room. And then
you pass them, that's right.
And then 15 years down the road, the regular army gets them.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
You have to create demand signals. So those are the two,
well, and
that's
in
kind of the
this
angles.
case, it's open to the public. So anybody can go online and order
what we're talking about is like our guys will test it.
Yeah.
Because you're not just throwing it in a dormant human.
Yeah. They're going to put every possibility. Like
every guy, when they start drinking that stuff, it's going to open stuff. You'll road test it.
Yeah, exactly. And like I would say like anybody who's in any of those units or any of those organizations that thinks this will work, reach out and I will send you stuff on me to try it and give me feedback. Like I'm very aggressive.
You got a lot of that if you put that out. You can't believe he listens to this.
I want people to try it. I want people to say this is the real deal. If not, I wouldn't be with the company if they said, "Hey, we're making another pre-workout. You want to like be an Army guy and talk about my pre-workout?" No, man, pound sand. But I believe in it enough to where like I am happy to put my reputation.
Like, don't say nothing unless it works.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to stand behind something that doesn't have application. And everything I've seen on my end and my guys that use it and all that, like it's the real deal. So.
That's awesome.
Well, we're real good about that. Some of us, especially, I tested on myself for a long time before I pass it down.
So where does the like common everyday person that's not in the military get it?
So right now there's a couple. We have e-coms, we have the website, and Amazon also carries it, and we're also launching in Sprouts in March in like all 400 stores, which is pretty big. There's some niche stores that have it, like Earth Bar carries it, but for the most part, online's the way to go. Try it out.
Oh, you hit those little substations like that. It's underground little private secrets. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Man. Like if our guys find out about it,
then
they find out it's military grade. As soon as you hear military grade, then that's when they come online.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, having the background and having the fact like we didn't come up with the product, like we didn't come up with it. DARPA came up with the project because they knew it was the right deal.
I thought you meant earlier, like we didn't have any of this when we were coming in.
Oh yeah, no, and we didn't. DARPA had already thought about it, but it was too expensive and it tasted like shit and like it just wasn't happening. So HVMN reintroduced the DARPA project back to SOCOM and said, we can make this happen. So like there's been a long history of like DoD exploration in ketone use for fuel. So
That's so awesome.
Think about that too, man. It's like we came through when those protein shakes still tasted like butt water. I mean,
God.
Drinking that,
the canned, stronger. The canned Gatorade protein shakes.
Ew.
I've drank a lot of warm protein shakes.
Ew.
Good.
Oh my gosh.
But you know what? Ultimately, like as we evolve and we get better at our health and we get better at understanding what's going on in our bodies, like people wear Garmins that read their heart rates. People wear Whoops and Auras. So like we're more in tune to what our body's doing than we ever were before. And now it's time to apply that and treat the guys who should be treated like athletes. Because that's what they are. Like special operations guys. That's how they should be treated.
Oh, it'd be cool if they ever start recruiting us and like paying us like they do with football. Like,
no kidding.
That's the guy you want right there. How much?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
We're switching it.
Yeah, but that's it. Like the man behind the weapon system is always going to be more important, and the more effective he is, the better he's going to be.
Exactly like that. You can actually have dibs on who goes in.
Yeah. Stop wasting. I won't say stop wasting, but that's the right word. Stop wasting so much money on shit that works a little bit and then phases out immediately or becomes obsolete, and invest 1/10 of that into the man and make a better soldier.
You can't believe how hard that's the work ethic.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as you turn that sucker on, they won't shut down.
Yeah.
They'll go till they burn out.
Yeah.
It's its own little. It's amazing.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the hardest thing when you rotate back to the world, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Is when they put you in a bunch of that don't work like that.
Yeah.
It'll drive you crazy.
I imagine. I had a buddy of mine who went and did a internship with a company. It was a civilian company, I think out in Vermont area. Whatever. He was just talking about, he's like, I showed up and I was given like 70%. I felt like I was blowing the doors off of the civilians I was working with because like, I felt like I was shamming. And I was like, to them, I was like crushing it. And I was like, yeah, the work ethic is entirely different.
Think about that, because it turns around. They're like, I was trying to show everybody up. Well, in reality, you're trying to show them what you're capable of.
Yeah.
It's reversed for us when you come back out now.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to throttle that.
It's like I'm not trying to show up and just show you how hard I work. I'm just trying to do the job because we have a job and I'm going to do it. And that's, to be honest.
And here's the best is when you finish your job and you go, hey man, you want me to help you with yours? Then they're like, why would you help me with my job?
No, that's my job. You're trying to take credit for my stuff? No, man.
What do you want, my salary?
We're a team.
No, man, I was just trying to help you. Like, don't worry about my job. Dude, when you hear that for the first time, it goes against everything we were taught.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another big part of like being part of it. When I first heard, I thought it must be like a huge warehouse where they've got 500 employees and all this stuff. It's not. It's a small, decentralized team where everyone has responsibilities. They all support each other. And it's like, this is a world that I'm used to, and I can thrive in this. So it's a team environment with something that I stand behind. It's like, yeah, this will work. So, yeah.
And it's giving back to your guys.
It's giving back to the guys.
Yeah.
That's all we're trying to do here too, man. Is make sure when guys
find
come
a way
out where they know that's at and who's doing what.
Exactly. Find a way to get it to the guys that need it to where they don't have to.
Because all our communities talk. You got bastards like me who whore around to the Army, Marines. I'm just like, hey, I got buddies in every one of them.
Yeah.
Everyone, and we talk.
Yep.
Daily.
Everybody. Like the community is so small. Like yesterday, I hung like everybody that knows everybody. We freaking wrestled with Tim Kennedy. Yeah. And then we were hanging out with freaking the BRCC guys, hanging out with Mike Glover, who's friends with Greg Anderson, who I just did a show with him not too long ago. So like every single piece touches.
It didn't take as long.
Yeah. So it's like if you're full of it, you're gonna out it real quick. Yeah. So I'm fully willing to put that.
We're all a big puzzle.
Yeah.
It's cool because all that stuff they taught us when we were in the military when we were kids, because we were like comms. Now we have, instead of communicating back and forth, now we're everybody.
Yeah.
And we got the freaks.
And it's weird.
And we know where we live.
Yeah.
We got locations, grids, everything. Guys are just starting to put that overlay together. Yeah. Once we pull that sucker tight, you won't be able to get around us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The network of guys, like especially like the GWAT generation who are getting out and going and doing cool things, building the tribe.
Stand by.
I will say, like,
when them GWATs show all of us, because our war went over until they stopped it.
Yeah.
Like even the guys in the beginning, that's not how it works.
Yep.
You have to completely shut it down when that last man came up. When that happened, we all came home. Now it begins.
Yep. And every single one of those guys is still ready when you pick up the phone if something needs to happen. So, the network is strong. Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your
Thanks,
story.
Thanks, guys, for allowing it to happen. It's such an honor. I love it. Being able to talk. So
for our listeners, they just go to
please
www.
So go to hvmn.com. There's a couple options. You can buy them in the shots, which they're super convenient to travel with. It's a little bit more diluted with the same amount of ketones, so some people think they taste a little bit better. Or you've got the bigger bottles, which is like your fridge bottle. You'll just
so our guys will take the biggest bottle they got, and take the whole thing in one time. You know how we do it.
Oh man, yeah. If you do, I wouldn't say there's a downside, but you're gonna be freaking feeling pretty good. Like you're gonna be jamming.
Just saying, our guys, man. They will freaking find a way to get that in there.
Yeah,
if Marcus does that, I promise to video.
Yeah.
Show you what he's doing.
I get some weird shit.
Oh man.
I remember I'm a Delta.
So it's just a shot.
So there's the shots, which is the small bottles, which is one serving, which is 10 ketones in about 45 milliliters of fluid. And then there's the big bottles, which is 10 servings in one bottle. So cost-effective wise and packaging wise, it's cheaper to get the big ones. They're just not as convenient. They've got like 3 packs, 1 pack, subscriptions to save money.
All right, just for the record,
all that.
What happens if you do take a lot of that?
You just feel great for longer. I mean, it's...
Don't say it like that.
Yeah, I know.
These guys are...
He knows what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, pee for plenty. If some work good, more work better. No, I get it. Yeah, that's a real thing.
It's a real thing. I have to bring that up, man.
Yeah, pee for plenty exists.
You think you got a motor? Some of our dudes got a freaking motor.
I'll say when I'm if I'm doing like they have the endurance exchange and running event, and they've got these things that they do. I've been in Austin for at the convention center, and when I do that, like I take shots with people like all day long, and I'm freaking like,
because our guys will camelback that stuff.
Oh, dude, I'm freaking cruising.
In the afternoon.
Yeah, the only issue if you drank too much, maybe you might have a gastro issue.
That's what I
like
thought, yeah.
maybe,
Okay,
you know, if I had to pick one thing that could happen, but other than that, like you're not going to OD on it. You're not going to get it.
She'll piss it out.
You're not going to feel too good. Like you'll just be fueling on it longer.
We're gonna try.
Yeah. Do it.
I'm just, you know, our guys, man, they'll be like,
and it is semi body weight dependent. Like I'm a lighter guy. Like I weigh like 150 pounds. So for me, one shot does pretty well. Yeah. If I'm going to work out or do something hard, I'll take 2. But for like bigger guys, you know, especially like normal operator size, not me, I'm a small operator. I would take like 2 or 3 of these things before you're about to like really jam. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it does well. Congratulations to the next part of your career.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Transition.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, super cool.
All right,
this is the Team Never Quit podcast. So buckle up, Buttercup.